Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fireside streams. I am your host, Raymond McNeil, and joining me as always is the immortal Mollie Rhymemaster. Mollie, how are you doing today?
I'm putting glue on stuff and then peeling it off when it dries, because it's fun.
I didn't catch that actually. Oh, I still had my headphones off. The downsides of doing that for the skit, the bit.
Instead of putting glue on stuff and then peeling it off when it dries.
I want to get, like, is that hot glue that you can peel off that's kind of, like, rubbery when you finally peel it off?
Yeah.
That's the fun stuff right there. So how's everyone in chat doing today? We have 12 people. You guys need to go out and kidnap more people to watch. Sup, Moopa? I hope you all enjoyed our cartoon rankings yesterday. That was fun. I wish Moopa had been there. I feel bad, but, like, that was, like, a last-minute thing that we did.
I didn't do that because I was busy, but also it's probably good I was busy because I would have gotten the chat would have gotten lit and not in a good way.
Yeah, well, on top of that, like, we could probably, like, touch on that a little bit now. We can light the chat. Yeah, no, that was also recorded at, like, 3 a.m., so that's why I was so quiet. People were literally asleep, like, all around me. I was just like, yeah, okay, guys, I have to be kind of, like, really quiet right now. I have to be super low volume. That's why everyone else sounds so much louder than I do. Think of all the horses ground up to make that glue you're wasting. Aww. No. How do they make glue now? Because they used to use, like, horse hooves.
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 It would be hoove. Miles Saxon, hello there. It's fine. I enjoy sleep. Sleep is nice. I wish I got more sleep, but my body won't let me. Currently recording gameplay of Destiny for a video. Thought it was going to be happening on Friday. Why? Did we indicate it was going to happen Friday?
I don't think so.
So, do you remember both my submissions, right? Yes, Poncho, I did. We have one pickup submission from last week that I missed. I think that was on me. I'm not entirely sure. It might have been sent during the show that I missed. Which, for the reminder, we're kind of, like, cutting off, like, right before the show. We don't take submissions going while we're doing the show.
My eyebrows look terrible today, jeez.
They look fine. Look better than I have a monobrow right now. I need to trim.
Unibrow?
Yeah, I have like a little bit of hair that grows in between that, and like it annoys the hell out of me because I gotta keep shaving that down. There was a lot.
You know what Raymond and I have been doing? We've been writing like Ace Attorney one shots. I literally have not done that since I was 17, maybe 16.
And then she brutally pulverized mine into paste. It was great.
I did not. I just gave some criticism.
You gave no positives.
I'm sorry, you... Like, when I do that, the implication is, the rest is good. But...
Oh. I think Anime just got you confused. Every night I lie awake, cursed with the knowledge that Adam Sandler is playing Dracula in Hotel Transylvania. Yeah, apparently he's good in it. Like, here's the thing.
Adam Sandler... Hotel Transylvania is actually good.
Yeah. Like, Adam Sandler is a good actor when he wants to be. He's sort of like, it's bizarre. He just plays in a lot of his movies are literally just excuses to go on vacation.
Yeah. Hey, V, eventually, you will sing. I will have a good song, and you will sing it. This is a threat. It's not actually a threat. CIA, please don't arrest me. I'm not making a threat over state borders.
Yes, I am this kind of nerd with a synthetic polymer if you're talking about white glue.
That's what I figured.
That's cool. Instead of horses' hooves, they made a plastic...
And hey, Chris. I think it's been a while since Chris was in chat, Sky Zero.
So...
It's good to see him.
Yeah, it's always good to see more people in here.
I like seeing the regular, the older guys, the regulars.
So, did you have any hot takes that you wanted to, for the cartoons that you wanted to throw out there?
Me?
Yeah. Aside from my already scalding hot take that I literally put Steven Universe in garbage tier.
Okay, I don't think Steven Universe is garbage. I think it's good when it does what it's best at, which is like kind of just being a episodic, story of the day. which
See,
like was early
I
on.
saw the
It's
first
when it
episode
does
3
the story
times.
thing.
The problem is, I saw the first episode 3 times, and I hated it each time. Because people try to show me at different times to get me into it, and I'm like, I hate Cookie Cat. I hate Steven. I hate this entire group of people. Why do you keep showing me this? I hate all of you!
Molly says, Vivi says, Molly, please have mercy. The song is better since I edited it a few months ago, so.
You think I don't like blah, blah,
it
blah.
should be singable now.
But yeah,
it should sound good to be sung.
What other hot takes? Anything of interest that really stuck out to you that you wanted to get off your chest?
Let's see. Well, you know how I feel about modern cartoons. The cartoons I grew up with were like I said, like you know, your Chowder and Flapjack and Foster's. I really like Foster's. Those are like really good shows. I think that I don't know, like what would be a hot take?
Of all the more modern, like the ones you grew up with were actually the ones that like they were the ones coming out of the golden era that I was in.
Yeah.
And I would actually consider Foster's is the last, I would say, classic Cartoon Network show that I felt came out of Cartoon Network. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, I would put it up there in the era of, like, Courage the Cowardly Dog and Powerpuff Girls. Like, where those started it, that ended it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was... With shows like that, I know I liked them, but I was way too young to actually give a proper critique on them.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking like 4 to 6 years old. I saw the colorful things, and I was like, wow. Hit me up and see how it goes. Well, thanks for giving me the confidence to actually do that, because I've been scared for the past, like, 6 months. So.
What, to give those opinions?
No, to ask V to sing again.
Oh, yeah.
I was in such a bad place that when I was turned down, I was like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to do this.
But yeah, and then like finally, like then you have Flapjack and Chowder, which were the post. I call that the post SpongeBob era, where everything was trying to like kind of take after that. And then I think Flapjack and Chowder are the most interesting kind of takes on that kind of formula. This could be for confused fascist dictatorships for dysfunctional family dynamics and tried to do both. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why wasn't Transformers in your list? There was a There was a Transformers. There was like Transmorphers that was in the list. Modern cartoons don't
also, Gumball is what would happen if Reddit made a cartoon.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It has had some real like home runs, but the later it got, the more it was just trying to be like weird meme commentary, and it was not fun.
I think we all know where this is going.
Yeah.
Rowdy Rough Boys were awesome versus the Powderpuff Girls, yeah. Transformers and Cartoon Network. Yeah, there was one on Cartoon Network, and it wasn't good, apparently. I should like Flapjack.
My other hot take is Amphibia's the goat of this era. I will literally hear no two ways about it.
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment.
Gravity Falls who?
Well, Gravity Falls is what kickstarted all. I like it, and Adventure Time kickstarted this era, I want to say.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Amphibia was made by Gravity Falls' best writer, so.
Gumball's pretty good, though. See, Megas XLR is god tier. I will hear no arguments. That is an incredible. When your main theme is so confident to literally just be the proclamation of your love for giant robots. That's literally the like. You dig giant robots. I dig giant robots. We dig giant robots. Chicks dig giant robots. That's literally the lyrics of the song. When you're so confident that that's your main theme song, you're god tier. You just are. You have the swag to pull it off.
Let's see. For the first time I felt powerful. I'm used to people just making fun of me. Molly took me seriously. Thank you. Well, music, if you're talented and I trying to get you on a project, you should be taken seriously.
And Millennial Gen was more imaginative and easily marketable, but also had the 80s level of good quality.
Owl House is definitely up there. Owl House being up there is a testament to the quality of other shows in this era.
Ooh, You haven't even watched Owl House. I give you a pass on criticizing She-Ra because you actually sat down and watched the damn thing.
Fine, I'll sit down and watch it. That's what I could do with Sarah. That's what you, Sarah. We're watching Owl
House. Because I
am doing a psych study on it when I watch
though
it.
I will say that season 2 so far has hit. It hasn't been bad, but it's hit like 2 or 3 roadblocks or stumbling blocks, and I think that. I mean, not to repeat my mistake with She-Ra, but I think there's been production woes in the background where they're like, "Oh, we're not getting a 3rd season. Oh crap!" Or we're not getting a full 3rd season. We're just getting like 3 movies. Okay, well, we are running out the clock, so we have a lot to get to.
Yeah.
First thing we have.
Oh, we should say what the prompt was.
Well, actually, we have a pickup prompt from last week because,
Okay.
again, from Poncho, which last week's prompt or last session's prompt was double entendre, which was all about doublespeak, that sort of thing. There is a car parked in such a way outside this window, in the rare circumstance that it's glaring right into my eye. You can see it on my face. This is. I'm seeing sparks. All right. So this is from Poncho from the last submission series, and we're going to go through it now. You have everything pulled up, Molly?
Yep, I got it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't see a father in your contacts. A freshly dug grave. The scent of flowers mixed with gunpowder lingers in the air. It was a good day for rain. I'm sorry, I don't see a father in your contacts. Bottles of alcohol keeled over in a dark room. The TV... Do you usually use keeled over for an inanimate object? It's usually a person or a creature. What is keeled?
Yeah, because I think keel... I always thought keeled meant, like, died. But... Well, no, wait.
Boater ship turnover, its side capsize, in form of a person or thing, fall over, collapse. So technically it works. I don't know. It doesn't usually sound right to the ear. But it's not a bad use. Trying to use an interesting word. That's fine. The TV stuck showing a flurry of white. An unshaven man unconscious on the sofa. An unattended phone answering forgotten requests. I'm sorry, a white void, then black, then white, then black. The man stood, disoriented. A figure before him was in a pristine white suit. He looked on with bold, arrogant eyes. He seemed disturbingly familiar. The void turned white, and in his place, a young-looking man in a prim black suit appeared. He looked tired, but a sly smirk remained present across his face. He, too, had a haunting familiarity. White, then black, then white, then black again. No matter what we do, we will always incur a debt to time. The new arrival didn't seem to see the figure's lips move, but the words still thundered in his mind. He opened his mouth to speak, but choked when the words stuck in his throat. Tick tock, tick tock, tick. Or no, tick 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 tick. It's over, isn't it? It's over, isn't it? I'm dead. He thought as he regained his composure. The figure simply cocked his head to one side, seemingly in response. Simply cocked his head to one side, seemingly in response. Tick, 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 tick. What's it matter? It's not like I had anything in... what's the matter? Not like I had anything in my life anyway. Go on then, take my soul or whatever you do. The man putting as much venom as he could in his thoughts. Tick, 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 tick. A life unlived is not a life worth taking, came the reply. Tick, 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 tick. What the? Memento mori. He was back in his apartment, but it was cleaner, warmer. The curtains were thrown open and sunlight shone through. An assortment of bowls and cutlery were neatly set on the countertops before him. Another man walked into the room. He heard him speak, but all he heard was garbled static. The man's face was blurred as well. It was as though he was looking at him through an ethereal veil. Memento mori. Tick, 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 tick. The scene dissolved. He was sitting next to a window, looking out at the starry night sky. The light of the full moon was almost blinding to him. Another man was sitting next to him, looking through a telescope. The man sat up, enthusiastically pushed the eyepiece of the telescope to him. his face still shrouded in mist. He laid back in his chair, and he began to speak in his distorted voice, but his warped tones seemed to be forming some kind of melody. It sounded so comforting, familiar. Memento mori, tick, 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 tick. Two men were standing proudly over a shoddily built doghouse. Memento mori, tick, 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 tick. A bear's roar as a camping trip went awry. Memento mori, tick, 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 tick. Roaring laughter as someone failed to remember the word skillet?
Yeah, like somebody forgot a word, and and that happens sometimes.
I've never heard it referred to that way. Interesting. Memento mori, tick, 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 tick. No matter what happens, I love you, man. He was sitting with the man sitting on a plastic lawn. That's a little. You could clean that up. He was sitting with the man on plastic lawn chairs on a wooden deck, looking on as the sun made its final rounds over the horizon. The meadow before them was bathed in a warm glow, the receding orange in the sky cradling the oncoming black of night. He looked over to his side, and now the man's face was visible. It looked much like his own. The same narrow bridge of his nose, the same wide jaw, the same piercing eyes looking back at him with pride. He finally understood all the comparisons people would have made over the years. He opened his mouth to reply, I... tick, 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 tick. He was once again back in the white void facing the tired black-clad figure. No! This yell came from deep within his soul, and he felt its echo reverberate throughout the endless white space as it tore through his throat. Take me back! I have to tell him! I have to say it back! The figure stood silently. The man fell to his knees, sobs racking his body, but no tears would come. Please, I need more time. The void turned black. The scene reformed again, and there he was, staring back at his own face once more. Except this time, it was indeed his face, his wrinkles, his dark stubble, his sunken eyes, now with a look of satisfaction that it hadn't made for years. He stared back. He smiled. No matter what we do, we will always incur a debt to time. Tick, 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 tick.
I just say, I think Poncho is definitely our most, poetic submitter.
If Mupa isn't doing something poetic, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, consistently poetic. Because Poncho can use words really well. I know that sounds kind of, vague, but there's a difference between being a good writer and using words well.
Yeah. I mean, there's an art to, Hemingway's one I always kind of go to. Because people are like, oh, he writes in, sentences of 3 syllables or less. But that's not really accurate. The man is just very choosy with his language, which is what makes him very impressive. Is he conveys a lot with very little. And
I mean, also the concept of poetic language is just the ability to form images in someone's mind that are very clear. I kind of as far as the story this goes, I kind of understand. Scott E is right that I do probably need more sleep. Actually, I slept too much today, so I look a little out of it. But I mean, I understand what he's going for, and it does have this poetic quality where it's very kind of vague. It's vague, but the imagery is strong. And there's the difference between poetic and specific is a thing in writing. In pop music right now, there's this common style of songwriting that I really despise, where it'll be we ate frozen yogurt together, and your shirt was blue, and we were in your Subaru, or something where they have these very specific.
The rap lyrics, bad rap.
No, they're
lyrics.
Not rap lyrics. I blame Ed Sheeran for this actually.
Did he die in Game of Thrones? He was in Game of Thrones. He should have died.
What?
Wasn't Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones?
I don't know.
Well,
the concept of it is that if you write out really specific things, people will be tricked into thinking that it applies to them and it's strong imagery. It isn't, because the things they're describing are so banal, and they're doing it in ways that are so normal. It's not poetic. It's just specific. Like, there's nothing you're getting from it besides the visuals of the specific scene that's going on. Like, I don't know, and that's the difference between being specific and being poetic. Like, specific is like, Poncho kind of falls into it here. We're sitting on plastic lawn chairs on a wooden deck. That's specific. The poetic is the meadow before them was bathed in a warm glow, the receding orange in the sky cradling the oncoming black of night. That gives you a feeling. I think that's the real difference. If there's a difference between being able to see something and being able to feel something. Like, when you look at a really beautiful painting, you see something. Like, you feel something. If you look at a photo, you can feel something. I'm messing up. See, okay. When you're looking at, like, a regular photo of something, you can see something. When you're looking at a really good painting, you can feel something. Like what Bo Burnham was making fun of in Repeat Stuff? Yes. I was so happy when I heard him make fun of that. But yeah, there is that difference between just being able to give somebody an image of something and make somebody feel something. Like, I think that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry if my words are getting lost in my talk about words. But yeah, if you want to write something poetically, you have to really kind of look for those details that make it special, I guess. That make the scene special, not just, an Ed Sheeran song where it's like, we had a picnic at your favorite park in a whatever city. Like, I can relate to that, I guess. I don't understand what you specifically are feeling, and because of that, now I, the listener, can project whatever I want to feel on it, and now I can pretend that you're special. By the way, Ed Sheeran's best song is the one he wrote for The Hobbit. It's like not even a joke. It's like a joke. It's the one he wrote for The Hobbit. Don't and Sing.
But yeah, no, that was strong. That was strong. I'm not entirely sure how this plays in the double entendre exactly. I guess there's like the reiteration of you don't owe, no matter what, we always incur a debt to time. Not entirely clear on how that's a double entendre, but I feel like the repetition makes it nice and strong. I mean, it did hit me at the end. It was nice.
Yeah. Janice and Mupo were arguing in chat, and I was wondering what they were arguing about. It's about My Little Pony.
Yeah, I saw that.
My hot take on My Little Pony, by the way, is that I don't think there was anything inherently wrong with the idea of people like watching a show that is not made for their demographic and enjoying it, especially because a lot of those people kind of liked the it's all about friendship and stuff, and I have trouble understanding it or whatever. I think that the thing that bothered me about My Little Pony is the effect it has had on the concept of fandoms, because My Little Pony, because it formed a community around it, that it wasn't just a regular community. It wasn't just people who liked a show. It was people whose lives began to revolve around it. Like, my friends all watch this show. We have conventions just for this show. We have art just for this show, and news just for this show. And because of that, their life is revolving around it. And the reason why that is a problem is because when people attack it, people got extremely defensive because it was no longer attacking a show you like. You were attacking their community or their life, like their friends, their values. That's what you're attacking, and that has gotten into a lot of other fandoms now. And I think that's why stuff like RWBY fans get so aggressive, because you're no longer just attacking the show they like, you're attacking something that means an unbelievable amount to them that it shouldn't, because it's a fucking TV show. Like, yeah, like that's why My Little Pony bothers me, not because of the concept of it or even the concept of bronies, but because of what it has done to like the internet, basically.
How big is like the fan fiction space for My Little Pony? Because I have a thought on.
I know they have their own website, so I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, the reason why authors get defensive of their own works is because they have a sense of ownership of it. Like that's one thing. Like, when you talk to an author about their work, a lot of people want to put on the kids' gloves if they like the person. I know my friends do it. I pay attention. I see it. I see it when they want to avoid talking about something they don't like. It's It's uncomfortable because I know that. That's why I appreciate Molly, because she tore me a completely new one with that. But
the double entendre was debt to time.
Yeah, I saw that.
As in he wasted his life, literally an indent to the entity. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, I figured it was something along those lines. It was just like it wasn't clear to me, which isn't a bad thing. It kind of left it in this kind of nebulous, kind of murky space that made it uncomfortable. Cartoon Network first era: Courage, Dexter, Powerpuff Girls, Next Door, Samurai Jack, Foster's Home, Johnny Bravo, Billy and Mandy, Megas, and I mean, those are all really good shows.
I have no opinion. I can't give an opinion on Courage the Cowardly Dog because when that show was like in its main run, I was like 4. And if you're 4 and watching Courage the Cowardly Dog, you are not going to have a positive opinion on it. I'll tell you that for free.
That's fair. You should go back and watch it a little bit and see if you.
I want to. But it traumatized me as a child. So.
But yeah, that was a great submission. But I was gonna say, I'm all over the place because I was trying to finish my thought on. So authors feel very defensive of their works. They can, at the very least. I try not to be. Like, it's very healthy for authors to kind of to take on the aspect of death of the author for yourself in order to look at your work objectively and then go back into it to re-own it. It's death of the author for me is more of a, you sell it, you rebuy it, you fix it up, and you flip it. That's basically how like my editing process goes in my head, where I have to like separate myself from it. Although I will defend my work. I not that I won't defend it, but like you gotta be not sensitive about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a thing that a lot of people like. I think everybody has trouble learning that. It's hard, you know.
And that's where I think like the MLP group and like a lot of fandoms, a lot of them do fan art, a lot of them do fan fiction. And that starts to create a sense of ownership. Like, I know people in the Little Witch Academia community that will fight you to the death over Little Witch Academia. And I love Little Witch. It's probably one of my favorite anime of all time. But, like, guys, it's not worth dying over. It's not. Like, there will be other shows.
Yeah, like, there's also the thing that, like, it's the kind of persecution complex that comes with it. So I remember when I was about 16, maybe 17, there was a guy I was friends with online, and he like considered himself, he like used the word persecuted relating to him being a brony. Persecuted. He was like a white guy from like Tennessee. Like dude.
Yeah, no, that's just good old regular public shunning. That's not persecution. That's just regular old shunning. Honestly, we could use more shunning in this world sometimes. I'm just saying. Little Witch was all right. Masquerade, I will murder you and your family. I'm kidding.
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. There is a Starlight Glimmer character that. Okay, you guys are still arguing. We're just gonna push those two off to the side. They're still arguing my opinion. I'm
kind of interesting to see. I'm interested in seeing where this goes.
Okay, so now that we've done the catch up, we have the actual prompt for the week, which was 3 perspectives, where a story is told from 3 different perspectives in some way, shape, or form. Our first submission is from Anime AK, and
is it called Revelations?
It's called Sabaton.
I always get like mixed up on his. The one that I have let's see, Cold Revelation
should be in the pin.
It is. Hold on, I think.
Maybe like the name change after. Yeah, the name changed after I posted it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I knew it sounded familiar.
You're so nervous. You should be. That's good. That's healthy. Be nervous. All right? And then shake it out. Shake it out, all right?
There was CN Real. Oh my gosh, I remember CN Real. Because I was like 8 or 9 when that was happening. So that was like the first era of Cartoon Network that I was like fully conscious for. And it wasn't good, to say the least.
Yeah. So the first thing I already noticed about this one, aside from the fact that Molly is an anonymous manatee, Anyone else remember Barbara Manity? I love Barbara Manity. Anyway, the one thing I can already tell you, you really like your war settings. We challenged you to do original stuff this week. I vaguely remember that. And I am already getting... This is...
If it's it can at least... Maybe it's an original war setting, at least.
Well, yeah, but I'm already getting Destiny vibes from it. The Vorkon and the Gorton. These are not... They're not Destiny creatures. I googled them. But they sound like fantasy aliens, so... Alright. Henderson watches the Vorkon... this is called Sabaton. Demonenhunde. Demon dog? Okay, I imagine that's probably a Sabaton song. Henderson watches the Vorkon infantry slowly make their way across the Gorton lines. Their tan uniforms make them look like upright sand fleas. His precious Gorton Rangers being cut down like torn ribbons. "Hold the line!" he shouted, firing his bolt-action rifle, making one soldier fall after another. Yet they still came in massive waves. Their banners of a sword and sickle, abroad a red canvas, struck fear into his men's hearts. "There's so many, Sarge!" shouted a scared private.
It says, "There too, wrong too many, Sarge." There's a few things there. One. It should be theirs. Like, their apostrophe S. Two should have two O's. If you're going to be using all caps, you should not be using multiple exclamation points. It's just not very, like... I don't want to say professional, because that's, like, the wrong word.
It's not clean. Like...
It's not mature, I guess.
You should never... Unless you're, like, displaying, like, a character's text message, like, where they're being really, really goofy, no more than 3 exclamation points, and that's for incredibly, like, that's the strategic. The 3 exclamation points is a strategic F-bomb. If you look that up on TV tropes, there's a strategic F-bomb where you get one or maybe 2 in the entire story. You don't drop that. You don't just drop that out of the blue randomly on a single line. That doesn't have a lot of weight to it. Could have had Diamond Dogs with the big boss. Yeah. I'll read this all now in snake voice for that. Who was frantically trying to reload his weapon? "Don't even think about it, Ranger," Henderson replied, shooting another poor Vorkan center mass. Actually, that's going to be distracting me brain-wise. He heard the cry of low ammo from machine guns from behind his position. He gritted his teeth as he ordered another private to take some ammo cans to the pillbox state positions. Explosions rocked his trench line as the Vorkan got more land with every step they took. He felt his hands shake as they continued to keep his men together. Then something odd moved in the distance from the nearby forest. He narrowed his eyes, trying to focus to see if it was a threat like incoming savages that took no pity or mercy. Okay, already, second issue, getting a lot of... is it SVO? SVO? Subject verb object? Getting a lot of that. It's not terrible. You're breaking it up. There's a few things in there that breaking it up, but it's hitting a bit. Then, much to his shock, much to his shock. Comma.
Also, there's a little thing I want to point out. After the "there's too many, Sarge," it says "shouted a scared private," and then there's a space. There's an enter, paragraph break, whatever you want to call it. Who was frantically trying to reload.
Oh, damn! I didn't even. Yeah.
That's actually like not. You can actually do that in some cases if you want to break up, kind of the reader's reading speed, and like you want to add it on as like a little surprise thing. You wouldn't really use it here.
Yeah, like this.
But I have used it before.
I think it was unintentional. It needs a little more skill there.
Yeah, but that is a technique that you can use.
Should tag. Yeah, no. You don't read it as though I am saying that like at the most extreme. That's the most extreme you should take it. Like any more exclamation points beyond that is patently ludicrous. And ideally, your scene should be able to build towards that. I should have clarified there. You're right, Mupa. But like, I'm just saying that like if you're going to use multiple exclamation marks, 3 is the number. No more, no less. Well, yes, less. Always less.
What about a page of exclamation marks in the shape of an exclamation mark? Well, Poncho, if you can pull that off, I mean, I feel like it'll take a very long time, but
that's the Metal Gear Solid novel. There's too many stars. Don't even think about it, Ranger. He heard the cry of low ammo. The cry of low ammo for machine guns from behind his position. Just low ammo from behind his position because you wouldn't specify. He wouldn't know. Like he would just be like, oh. He grated his teeth as he ordered another private to take some ammo cannons to the pillbox stations. Explosions rocked his trench line as the Vorkon got more land with every step they took. He felt his hands shake as he continued to keep his men together. Okay. One big thing here. Describe how he's doing that. This sentence could literally be an entire paragraph all its own, describing how exactly is he keeping his men together. It's not just oh he kept his men together. It should be he called to he saw Franklin shaking in his boots and he called to him, pulling him up and slapping his face to calm him down. That sort of thing. Like give us details of how is he keeping his group together. Then something odd moved in the distance in the nearby forest. He narrowed his eyes to the thing to focus if there was a threat. He narrowed his eyes trying to focus to see if there was a threat, like the incoming savages that took no pity or mercy. Again, some weird phrasing here. Like that took no pity or mercy. That showed no mercy. Probably be better. Then
or
much to
comma
his shock,
showing no pity or mercy.
Yeah.
Because this is happening presently.
Then, much to his shock, he pulled out his pistol to shoot at what looked like
That would
a
have
dog.
went past the word limit. Well, if you're worried about the word limit, what you should be doing is instead of trying to tell big stories, try to tell small ones and do it really well.
Yeah, like you like a lot of grand stuff. Don't try to go so grand.
You can write 1,000 words about something that happens in the span of 30 seconds.
Yes, that is absolutely true. I could write probably about 500 words about picking up a can of Coke, can of Pepsi.
That's how Fujoshi fanfics are written, though.
Yeah, I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But I'm saying you can be more efficient, and this is the opposite of the problem with Poncho. Or not the opposite of a problem with Poncho, but we were talking about there's efficiency with words, and then there's not being. They're saying too much. They're saying too little with too much. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like, if you want to write about this story of people facing down incoming troops or whatever, and you're like, oh, it has to be 750 words. The thing about, like, a sergeant trying to keep his troops together could be a full submission, if you do it well enough.
Yeah. Like that literally
when
could
you
have
get
been.
into the nitty-gritty, that can be a full submission.
Usually there's other things you can cut in favor of showing more important stuff. Yeah, there is. It's much
I remember when I was young, and I didn't write a lot, but I would like daydream a lot about like scenarios and things like that. I would call it scenarioing, and me and my friends would do this. One thing that I would do is I would run over the same scene again and again in my head, like before sleep or when I was bored, and it could literally be the same 10 seconds, and I would just think about how I would describe that and all the details going on.
The thing that really sucks is when you're like, oh man, that would be a great phrase, but you realize that kills the flow of the story. There are things that you can think of that'd be amazing to describe the scene, but it just kills it.
I remember this one scenario we had, where it was a Fire Emblem one. Like this is before Three Houses. This is like Fire Emblem Awakening. We're talking the old days.
Ooh.
And after battle, a character dies, but it's in this very specific way. And I remember just going over how exactly she would be like she would drop dead in and exactly how like the person next to her would react. And like you could do 1,000 words on literally just the person dropping.
Would she be dropping from a cliff, would you say? And within easy riding distance of a horse that could have gotten there at any time?
No.
Because there was a character that died like that in Fire Emblem Awakening. And that pissed me off because I had, like, really fast freaking cavalry that could have caught her.
if there's one thing I could give to Fire Emblem Fates is that everybody died really spectacularly, like the one girl who lit herself on fire. Like, man, that's a way to go. That game sucked, but, you know, credit where credit's due.
He managed to see the color. Sergeant Stubby, 5th Battalion, 15th Legion Marines.
Hold on, small thing. You're a Marine, you should know this. If you're doing the acronym, capital SGT, all caps, space, last name.
Well, this is a dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
But still, I'm just saying.
The privates close by grave off stairs. I'm not reading that wrong, am I? What am I reading there? The privates close by the privates close by. Okay, brain, what the fuck? Whoa, okay, I had an aneurysm there. Molly, I think I can write that fic now. I know what it's like having a stroke. The privates close by gave off stares as he got the dog off him. A stern look to his narrowed brow upon the pooch, yet confusion settled in his gaze. What the fuck, he murmurs. Taking the leather item, which looked to be some sort of protective sleeve.
You can leave out he murmurs.
Yeah, you don't need the murmurs. Who needs murmurs? Uncurled the message and he looked at one of his privates with surprise. Get this to the captain, he shouted. You don't need the shouted either.
It's kind of obvious he's shouting.
Yeah. Lieutenant Harbinger.
Really? Lieutenant Ebony Darkness Dementia Ravenway.
Yeah. Looked at the Vorkon troops. Looked as the Vorkon troops marched into the Gorton lines. His white face turned to a red hue due to the desert heat. His lips smiled. You can make an entire descriptive line about like the desert heat. You don't need like you're stating instead of showing. Show, don't tell. Always show, don't tell. His lips smiled despite being chapped. His cover in the forest took away most of the sun's rays while his rifle stayed by his side. Sir, Stubby made it to the Gorton lines, the corporal said. He wore an angular breastplate painted black, sand, and brown. Harbinger's smile grew wider as he put down his binoculars. Why was the breastplate important? Let's go pay those Vorkon bastards back the gassing of Hill 142. All right, that line's fine, but like, why did we need to know what his armor was like? We didn't. That's purely fluff. And like you were saying that you were worried about going over time about describing things. That's when you don't need them. You don't need that. You don't need these descriptive lines. Be economic with your word. It's being economic with your words. That doesn't mean you skimp on it. It just means that you put your money where your mouth is. That makes sense. Captain Gorgoth watched glee. Watched with glee as his men advanced through the Gorton lines. However, he couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. He had sent his best shock troopers to take the Legion oil fields of Balau Woods. Wow, that makes me pronounce woods weird. Balau Woods. Gorton's only forests. Lowercase
reminds
o,
me of
forest.
when I was in high school. I was in a jazz ensemble, and one of the songs we did was Norwegian Wood, and the font at the top of the sheet music made it look like Norwegian Woo.
So they could. That was always one of my least favorite Beatles songs.
Yeah, it's not good, but
so they could have a near infinite supply of fuel for their tanks. Then something from the forest to the east caught his eye. He walked down to a periscope of the trench line, only to see nothing. He grunted as the Gorton line ceased their fire. His brown lips smiled. All troops advance.
The Woods.
The Woods.
Thank you, Poncho.
Oh, God. His troops held back and reserve climbed the trenches to kill whatever was left in the Gorton trench. In the Gorton's trenches, only for a good amount of his men from the east to fall instantly from accurate rifle fire, he said in confusion. He felt his trench rumble with unknown life as more rifle fire killed line after line of men, and his fear started to grow. He looked through the periscope again, and his heart froze in shock and awe, and his eyes, wide with sweat, fell from the side of his unshaven face. Black
All right,
specks.
he's getting there with the description stuff.
Yeah. That was fine. That was fine. See, that more like that, less like
Someone
before.
in chat mentioned my gym partner is a monkey. Stanley is bringing me back. I used to love that show.
I
Camp
tolerated
Laszlo, my gym partner Monkey Foster's. Oh, that was the times.
Black specks and mess ran like animals whilst their roar stole Gorgoth's soul. Senseless, retreat, fall back, reinforce our lines. His men did as ordered. For every one senseless that troopers shot, 10 more took its place and reaped the souls of 20 more of his own men. No, at Legion Marines, dead men walking, no survivors. Those in the trenches tried to kill to cover their retreating comrades was only in vain. That tried to kill to cover. That's not a sentence. Within minutes, the fire from the trenches ceased. The Elysian Marines turned their red eyes from their gas masks to the trench lines.
This is like the third way he's spelt Elysian.
Atlassian, Atlisten.
Atlisten.
Oh my God, you're right. Consistency. It's important. I should know. There's a word I introduced in Ruby in Volume 5. I pronounced it wrong almost every single time after I introduced it, so I have to re-record all those lines.
In the dub of Attack on Titan, they mispronounce Historia's last name the first time, and then they don't all the other times afterwards, which must have been really awkward. You say it like this, right? Yeah, totally.
Afraid for the lives of his men, Captain Gorgoth ordered the rise of a white flag, yet still they came, the devil dogs they are. Okay, I think I'm picking up what's being put down. The dog was basically the front, the new wave of reinforcements coming in that are these like super soldiers, basically.
Each person spells it differently.
Yeah,
it's like the word Hanukkah. We all got our own way.
I was gonna say, man, I'm not impressed by this one. Kind of lackluster. You really like your broad scope circumstances. Really, I understand. Like you have a few smaller scale stuff that you've done. You got to work on smaller scale stuff. It's very much like building up to having the bigger scale stuff and understanding how that all works. Tolkien didn't just start writing Lord of the Rings. He wrote The Hobbit first.
I want to point out, dude, I get it. You're a Marine. I get that. But think back to your basic training, right? Think back to boot camp. When you think back to boot camp, do you think about the entire 12 weeks, where I'm sure it was miserable? Or do you think about the little moments that helped you get through it? Like, I don't know, someone sharing their MREs with you, doing march, like, what are they called? Cadences on marches? Maybe it's just in the Army.
Watching, cadences, they do it in the Marines too, I think.
Yeah. Those are the little things you remember.
Watching that one staff sergeant you really didn't like fall over into the mud just because you thought it was funny.
Yeah, weird things that your drill sergeant told you. Like, things that they yelled at you for that are absolutely ludicrous. Those are the things that you remember the most when you tell stories to people. I highly doubt when you tell your story about basic training to people, you start at getting off the bus, and then you just go through what I could have read on a website that goes over Marine basic training. You're going to be like, well, I was on the bus and I met this kid from Colorado and we became best buddies, and that, you're gonna start like that.
Yeah. Talk about that one guy who got punishment from from one of the CEOs, and like the punishment was to go mop outside while it was raining. That apparently actually happened. I love hearing some of the ludicrous punishments they would come up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's. I mean, you have a compounding of issues going on right here. First is grammatical. You need to spruce up on your grammar a little bit. I would highly recommend looking up rules of grammar for English. I don't know where you would look for that, honestly, but there's sites everywhere for Japanese, so I imagine there's sites everywhere for English. It helps.
I learned just by reading, but
well, everyone reads differently, learns differently. You might want to look up some mechanical guides. Just saying. Second issue is description. You put emphasis on things that don't need emphasis.
I don't remember anything from boot camp. I was rather recluse. I imagine you went through it.
If you don't remember anything from boot camp, that's a problem, actually, as a Marine.
Oh yeah, at the end of boot camp, I hit my head really, really hard. Huh.
That would be a story in itself.
How about like weird stories from food service? If you came up to me and just told me that you cooked, I wouldn't care. But then you're going to start saying weird stories that happened in food service. And I'd be like, hey, this is actually kind of interesting.
This one time when we opened the oven door, a live chicken came out and started attacking me. Like weird shit like that happens all the time.
Once we opened up the pantry and a bunch of shit fell out, like the doors in Zabumafu.
But yeah, so like that's your third problem is topic. You seem very fixated on war. You seem very fixated on like the things that you do in your daily life, which is not a problem. It's just like we're getting fatigued. We're getting fatigued. We might have to get more specific with our specific prompts for you.
Yeah. We swept rain off the main deck of the ship when I was in active duty in the Navy. That's awesome.
That is hilarious. SC English is some good. Yeah, SAT English probably a good place to look. This is. I mean, it feels like you're constantly kind of like fluctuating, and that's fine. It's actually don't take it as like don't feel bad about this. This happens when you're learning to write. When you're learning any skill, there's always back steps. You always trip. You always fall. It's all about getting back up, finding out what you did wrong, and then fixing it. That's the important part. And so
the first Ruby song rewrite I did was good, and then the next 20 were terrible. Happens.
Finding the parking lot.
You just gotta learn.
Yep. All right, so let's move on. We have this one from Justus, 1995, I think.
I wonder if he was born in 1995.
He was probably born in 1995. You want to take this one?
Yeah, let me just get it all loaded. The computer's being slow.
I wonder what kind of animal it'll say you are this time. I'm waiting for the point where someone accidentally, like not accidentally, but like intentionally sends us like smut, but it's disguised smut, and we don't realize it until we're like halfway through reading it. Like, oh, I'm waiting for that. They're not going to be happy with the results.
Don't encourage them.
I know I'm not encouraging them because we will not accept submissions from them after that point. But I'm waiting for it. I know it's going to happen. There's going to be some shit poster that does that. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? Screw the Wookiees. They have fur in really uncomfortable places. Oh yeah, Mike Burnfire's campfire stories are great. They are great.
Come on, load.
Loading! That's what I always yell when things are loading. I don't know why, it's weird.
Not many would have... I just don't make good calls on action stars. Not many would agree with you on that. Agree on what?
I think he's talking to Zaber, but hey, at least you're learning that automatically makes you better than Miles. No, trust me. You're attempting. You are making the attempt. Miles, I don't think ever listens to criticism.
We know that Eddie doesn't.
Do we know for sure that Eddie doesn't? See, he's obviously like complained about me before, but like I don't think he pays attention.
I don't know. He's a bit of a piece of work that I've seen.
Eddie gives me uncomfortable vibes. His smile is just really weird.
My job is so hard. You don't realize how hard my job is.
Wookiees,
Well,
Wookiees
Anime
the droid on
AK,
attack about the...
Anime AK, we're not going to throw you a pity party. We're just going to try to give you another prompt that might help you improve.
Okay. Good, you're in here. You are an anonymous Ibix.
Oh, Ibix. You're an anonymous camel.
I will now spit at everyone.
Camels are really large and they're terrifying.
Yes, they're huge. They're monsters. I love them. And I also hate them. They probably smell really bad.
Eddie for a fact dislikes criticism, making a point to talk to making a point of it to talk to someone that does. Okay. Oh yeah, so they released the casting for live action Avatar, and somebody in the Tundra was like, "Why does Aang have hair?" Like,
wait, they cast the live action?
Yeah, and like it shows the headshots, and of course the like 11-year-old boy that's playing Aang has hair, and one guy's like, "But why does he have hair? Like, dude, they have razors." And I'm just thinking about that.
Wait, no, that's the ideal. What? Where's Aang? Okay.
What pastry is served at a pity party? Cream puffs.
Katara? I can't tell which is Sokka and Zuko. I imagine pretty boy in the middle here is Zuko. No, that's Sokka. That's Sokka. Okay. Yeah, okay. I can see it. You know, I'm okay with this casting.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be fine casting. I can't wait for the people on Twitter to be like, excuse me, you didn't get an actress from the Siberian Arctic Circle regions of Russia for when a Katara is Inuit? Like,
actually, I've always heard about Inuit like in the Canadian half of the world, but I never considered. But they would be like North Siberian too, wouldn't they?
Yeah, there are parts of like the very far eastern end of Siberia that speak similar languages to native Alaskans.
Damn.
Yeah.
I love that land bridge.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, Justus.
Three-way thoughts. Yang loved her little sister. She really did. However, when Ruby had made the decision that they wouldn't tell Ironwood about the lamp, she began to start questioning her leader's decisions. Let's go. So when the opportunity presented itself in the form of some downtime in the Ark house, she pulled her sister out the backyard to talk. She may disagree with Ruby, but even she had enough tact to not call her out in front of everyone. Closing the sliding door behind her, should be a comma there.
Also, I'm confused where this is taking place. The Ark house?
Yeah.
In Argus?
You mean?
Because there's no house that they were in Volume 7 and 8. They were in a barracks. Or they were in a dorm.
They were in the Schnee Manor.
Maybe it meant the Schnee house? But there's no sliding doors in there. Oh well. Maybe it's typo. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Closing the sliding door behind her should be a comma there. She took a deep breath, letting the crisp Argus air fill her lungs. Turning to face the speedster who cradled her ever-present crescent close. There should be a comma somewhere in there. Glancing up and back down quickly between her sister and her baby. I think the comma would be after close.
I feel like that's an incomplete. I feel like that's a sentence fragment. Turning to face the speedster who cradled the ever-present. Turning to face the speedster comma, who cradled her ever-present crescent rose close, comma, glancing up and back down quickly between her sister and her baby.
No, it's a full sentence. It just needs commas.
But
just rip off the Band-Aid, Yang told herself. Ruby, since this team has formed, I trusted your judgment and followed your leadership without much thought. And for the most part, you've been right. This time, though, I need you to convince me 110% that this is the best choice. Should also be a comma there.
There should be a space.
I don't know about this. I don't know, the redhead stuttered. Ironwood, Ruby, please don't play dumb. Why did you decide we aren't telling Ironwood about the lamp? Was Yang really asking this? Was she paying attention to the recent events? There should be a question mark. Yang, you know why we can't tell him. We don't know if we can trust him. He's already put Atlas on lockdown, enacted a dusk embargo, and from what Weiss said, he's been making decisions against the Council's wishes. He's treading dangerously close to martial law. Okay, there's a big block of dialogue here. This should be broken up.
Is it a back and forth, or is it just? I mean, even if it's not a back and forth, I agree. But I'm just saying, like, it would be worse if it's like a back and forth. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a back and forth. Whoa, that's a lot of text. Okay. But think about everything that has led up to this point, Ruby. After the fall of... There's, again, comma after point. You should really look into punctuation. After the fall of Beacon and the destruction of the CCT, grim activity spiked. You saw just as much on your way to Haven. Hundreds of settlements are being destroyed and tens of thousands of civilians and hunters have died. So, of course, the general and the entire Atlese military is going to gather everything to protect his country. Especially after the number of soldiers, ships, and drones he's already lost. He's making tactically sound decisions despite whatever the bureaucrats say. Bureaucrats, mind you, comma, who Weiss ranted for a good hour, are highly corrupt and self-serving. Look, comma, everyone might not want to admit it, but we are in a war. It has been going on for thousands of years. The only thing that's changed is that we are starting to noticeably lose. As for the embargo with Grim presence as strong as it is, it's counterproductive to send or receive shipments of dust. Get picked off because of Flyker's negative emotions. So, okay. Two things. A, this is not in character for Yang. Yang does not sit down and think through things rationally like this. If Weiss was saying this, I believe it. I do not believe Yang is saying this.
Well,
but
to be fair,
much as we loathe to believe, I think these characters do have some sort of pattern in their dialogue sometimes.
Yeah. The thing is, I feel like Yang is thinking about these things. I just feel like she's not thinking about them so resolutely, if that makes any... Like, both of these characters don't feel... Yang and Ruby talk very casually about things. They don't talk very... Like, Weiss making these points very accurately, that's Weiss. Ruby and Yang would be talking on much more, like, casual level, where it's like, he has an entire city full of people to defend, Ruby. He's not going to just, give up on that. You got to cut him some slack. Like, you got, like, that's the kind of dialogue you want to go for these characters.
There is, like, here's the thing. Yes, Ruby plot victims do not have personalities most of the time, but they do, at the very least, generally have dialogue patterns, and you should follow those. Secondly, if you need a character to drop a big chunk of text like this, you should at the very least be breaking it up with two things. A is descriptive tags. Yang wrung her hands as she considered what to say next. That's type of stuff.
That's option one.
That's option one. Option two is to make it more of a back and forth, focus on how Ruby reacts to each thing she says, each few things she says.
No, because we actually do have paragraph formatting for long dialogues, for long monologues.
I know, but still, like, you can still, like, make it more pleasing to the eye, I guess.
Oh, yeah, no, the way you do that, if I can get, sorry, Anime AK, I'm using your blank template. Let me copy this. Copy. Go down here. Paste. Okay. So the way you do that is you're just going after everything. Lust. Okay, so you want to go over here. Enter. Technically tab. This doesn't have tabs, but whatever. And you would leave off at the end of this first paragraph. You would leave no quotation, and you just put a quotation at the beginning. Yeah. That's how you do long blocks of dialogue, but you can break it up as though it were a paragraph system. Like traditional, like if you're doing blocky paragraphs, you break them up in the exact same way. You just quotation slightly differently.
But you could also break it up using Ruby's reactions to things she said.
Yeah, you know, like, that's also perfectly legitimate. I'm just saying that, like, if you were really intent on just it being this focus, there's a way to do that.
Atlas has automated systems to transport dust.
Yeah, Atlas doesn't have enough germs for that. The other germs use human pilots. It's too big of a risk. Come on, Ruby, think about what you're proposing. You want us to lie and keep vital information from one of our most powerful allies because he's making tough decisions that don't make everyone happy? There should be a question mark there.
Think, Ruby, think!
Think, Ruby, think! I mean, have you even thought about what it's going to look like, what he's going to think when he finds out we lied to him? Think, Ruby, think, question mark. It's even worse if he is as unstable as you think. I don't think... Like this is very minor. It's even worse if he's as unstable as we think, because Yang doesn't talk like he is as unstable. You know, she will contract where she can. I think that's how she used to talk back when it paid attention.
Reminder: characters still need to breathe while they talk. Yes, that is a big thing that's going on right now.
That's a good way to say it. How much worse would a paranoid and terrified general react to the people he should be able to trust lying to his face? You need to think, Ruby! Think, Ruby! Think! This is just too damn important to get wrong. You should have discussed this extensively with everyone, not just you and, there's actually a nice drawing here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And yourself.
Is this original art? Justice? I think you're Zaber? Is that who's the... So the next writing prompt being scenes we wished were in Ruby so Raymond can steal them.
No, Justice is a humble African.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry, I just didn't know.
Zaber is Poncho, I'm pretty sure.
Is Zaber? Shit, my brain is getting all mixed up. You guys need to have consistent screen names. Yeah, if this is original art, good work.
Yang put some points in charisma and intelligence. I was thinking about this the other day. In Three Houses, they have charm instead of charisma, and the only two things it's used for is how well the battalions they lead will attack, and B is how well they can dance. It's canon. It's that charm is how well you can also dance. So make it up you will.
So if you can lead an army, you also got sick moves on the dance floor.
Yeah, and that also means that by looking at starting stats and growths, you can rank which characters are best at dancing, which are worse. Number one's Edelgard, by the way. Little fun fact. Let's see. Where was I? At this point, Yang was nearly yelling, and her lilac eyes had bled into crimson. A voice in the back of her head screamed that she was a bad sister and teammate, and as she looked upon the tear-streaked face of her baby sister... Okay, that shouldn't be... Now we have an actual sentence fragment. As she looked upon the tear-streaked face of her baby sister, what? You started a clause.
Where's the end? There's no... We have a clause here. We don't have a Santa. Oh, this is good work. This is good artwork.
Why did
you audition for the Sketchy Huntsman?
Yeah, that's his art. Oh, okay. The girl she raised from a young age, she almost succumbed to the stabbing pain in her chest and took everything back. Oh, I see what happened. It's a very long sentence, but it would be, and as she looked upon the tear-streaked face of her baby sister, comma, the girl she'd raised from a young age, she almost succumbed to the stabbing pain in her chest, took everything back. She hated the feeling, but she held strong. Ruby needed to hear the hard truth so she didn't make a mistake that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Oh, it was too late for Huntsman. Well, maybe next season.
Next season.
I'm begging you, Ruby, to reconsider. To reconsider. There should be a period there, and then we need to be careful about this. Let's talk to everyone and look at our next move from all sides. Okay? Again, there should be a comma there. Okay. Like not to be that guy, but comma. If you want to know, but I listen. I need to explain to you how that guy I am. I remember being in 8th or 9th grade. The school I went to was middle and high school combined. And there was like a 10th grader's homework on a table, like his essay that he'd printed out and forgotten. And it was like clearly a first draft or something, like he wasn't going to use it anymore. So I just went over with a pen and corrected all of his grammar and spelling mistakes. Like, it was already marked up. I just marked it up more. So I definitely used to be that guy. But Yang opens up with a new gauntlet. Facts and logic. Alright, let's just say that hypothetically, Ironwood wasn't lying. Hypothetically. Right. At this point, the desperation was thick in her voice. Okay, I'm sorry for making a decision without everyone else. I was trying to be safe, comma, and make the best decision. Oh, you don't need a comma there. And make the best decision so everyone else wouldn't have to. I really am sorry. Well, comma, a big part of being a good leader is being able to make the tough decisions. That's true. But seeking counsel and admitting a mistake. There should be something else there and then a period.
Ellipses.
I'm proud... Yeah, an ellipses. I'm proud of you, Rubles. And I'm sorry I had to yell. They shared a long, heartfelt hug before walking back inside. Sitting on the roof, a dusty old crow looked up into the starry night sky and raised his flask in cheers before taking a pull. You set a damn good example for those girls, Summer. They've become exceptional huntresses. You'd be proud. Okay, that's cute.
That's nice.
That's the third perspective. Poncho asked, did you own a fedora at any point at that point in your life by any chance? No. But I was close.
And it's not a fedora, it's a trilby. That's the killer. Fedoras are classy. Trilbies are ugly.
Facts. I should get an actual fedora. I think I could pull it off.
I have one. It doesn't fit me anymore. I got it when I was younger and I didn't take into account my head would grow. So now I can't wear it. And it sucks. It's a really nice fedora.
Forwarding you my address. You're sending it.
Oh, do you look good in green? It's like a dark green.
Maybe.
This is a rather lengthy fic. I expected it.
It's 840 words. It is over the limit. But...
Okay. This is William Wismer. Here we go. Wismer. I caught myself before I said it. Wismer.
Wismer.
Whiz.
I like that Oras forever changed our perspectives on Wismer as a Pokemon.
All right, here we go. The gunslinger never said a word. No one saw where he came from, the worn gunfighter seeming to have always been there. He stood on the edge of town square, faded into the background as he scanned the bustle of the crowds. Sometimes I think I might have been the only one who watched him, the only one who saw when he finally spotted what he was looking for, saw when he finally caught sight of the sheriff. Gunslinger said nothing as he stepped forward, still silent as a whisper, but with all the presence of a freight train. A hush fell on the town as all eyes turned upon him. The sheriff turned to match his steely stare with one of his own. Something passed between them, a rumbling both old and dark. the great weight of hidden history and bad blood. For a time, nothing happened. I'm going to try and get this on screen. It's a little bit weirdly staggered. The two men...
I'm sorry, just the comments. Crow Sanchez. I can turn into a pickle, Ruby. I can turn into a pickle.
Why am I a bird? For a time, nothing happened. The two men simply staring at one another with smoldering eyes. The tension grew with each passing second, palpable, stretching on and on into what might have been seconds or might have been forever. No thought was given to questions or interference, each onlooker sensing that what stood here was beyond the ken of lesser folks. All we could do was watch and wait. Then, in a flash, it was over. A crack of gunfire and the thud of a corpse, and finally, the rattle to silence of the sheriff's last breath. The gunslinger stood triumphant, revolver held steady at his hip, a thin waft of smoke bleeding from its barrel. For a time, uncountable, he remained, face inscrutable as he considered the fruits of his deadly labors. Then, as mysteriously as he had come, the gunslinger was gone, vanished back to wherever he had come, taking both secrets and purpose with him, never to be seen again. The sheriff nearly laughed aloud when he caught sight of his old friend in the square. Never a subtle soul, this one, not in the ways that it counted. No, the old gunfighter had always preferred the direct approach. Deep down, the sheriff had always admired that about him. He didn't even consider running, knowing the old hound would just find him again. Instead, he turned to face him, settling into a shooting stance, a mirror of his old friend, save for the age-torn of the gunslinger's iron. His own were much newer, the originals lost long ago. Neither of them spoke, though plenty was said. A tilt to the hat. So this is it then. A shift of the boot. You won't escape again. The slightest tug of a smile, always so blunt. A furrowed brow. Was it always going to end like this? A tightening on pistol grips. Does it matter? Last breath. The loudest sound in the world. No, I suppose not. Strangely, the sheriff found himself thinking back to those early days, when old friends had been new and when lies still had held comforting illusions. It had been a simpler time, and an outlaw almost wished to have it back.
I'm sorry,
almost.
chat is just making me laugh.
Pickle. Then there was no more words, no more meaning, no more anything, save fire, fury, and dust. The gunslinger knew he had won. It almost seemed wrong that such a long, winding road should end here, like this. No tricks, no plans, no cleverness, nothing but a bullet. Turned out not even his old enemy could deceive that. All the same, he stared at the corpse just to be sure, watching dark blood seep away into the thirsty earth. Only when more than any mortal man could stand to lose had gone would the gunslinger call his task done. Only then would he believe his quarry was truly dead. He learned that the hard way. A second ticked by. The gunslinger fought another battle against his own memory. Two images played again and again in his mind. One was old, the image of two boys sneaking out after a curfew to explore their ancient home, sneaking morsels from the kitchen, sharing blame equally when they were caught. The other was fresh, those same boys now grown, one soaked in blood and ashes, the other damned to the blackest pit of the universe held. Both hurt in ways the gunslinger could not describe. When at last his old friend lay cold before him, the gunslinger turned away. He could feel the eyes of the townsfolk upon him, staring, wondering at what they had just witnessed. He refused to burden them with the weight of answers. Instead, he slowly made his way back to the desert. It was all he could think to do, realizing for the first time that he had nothing else left, save for the bullet lodged deep in his gut.
Okay, that is what I was looking for in this prompt.
Yeah.
That is how you control narrative. Like, how you flesh out characters just by changing the perspective. Like, that's the point of POV. It's not just so you can change the scene all nice and write Komaeda's POV on top of the page. This is why you do it.
Like, you get more of the story, basically. It's the reason why I love epistle rewriting. Like, I fell in love with that with the Resident Evil games. I've mentioned this a lot before. But, like, the idea of characters, of you learning a story piece by piece from different perspectives, where one person is writing, oh, I had to run to this part of the police station or else I would have been eaten by this monster. And then later on, you find someone else who is like, man, that monster got me good. It mauled my leg off. And then later on, you get like a story. It's like, man, I feel really sick. I think I'm something. I looked at Bill and I wanted to maul his leg off. It's like, you know, like you get like more pieces of the story. It's like you have someone that encountered it, someone that was injured by it, someone that became it. Like you have these stories that slowly give you more and more perception into what is going on in the setting. Like the only thing I was confused by is, was he shot? Was an old bullet? Was it a bullet that was shot by the sheriff in this instance? I don't know, but like it's an interesting note to leave on because we're not quite sure.
But the point of it really is that the scene has been painted very, very strongly.
Yes, this is wonderful work, William. This is great. You should read the original Dracula if you haven't already. It's top tier epistolary. Yeah, I need to. It's on my list. I've read Frankenstein, although it's been a year since I've read Frankenstein.
I read Frankenstein. It was one of the books I actually really enjoyed in school.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That was before my school's like that was in 10th grade, which was the year before the curriculum at my school became bad. Like 10th grade, you got to read some really awesome stuff, and then 11th grade, it was just like, okay, over the summer you got to read Brokeback Mountain. I shit you not, we had to read that.
What?
We had to read Brokeback Mountain. Yes.
Like I thought at worst I had to read The Kite Runner.
And The Kite Runner is pretty intense too.
Yeah, literally there's a rape scene. Like,
yeah, I remember
shit.
I read that book when I was like way too young to have read that book. Like I was definitely like 12. But Brokeback Mountain is like literally just Fujoshi smut. Like it is the American equivalent to Fujoshi smut, and it's just like, but this is really important in queer history. And I'm like, no. And then we had to read the end of the year we read the Laramie Project, which is at least more relevant and more age appropriate. And we had to read Virginia Woolf, who is boring if you're not, you know, a 25-year-old female literature student.
I'm trying to think, like 11th year, it's all racism crap. Yeah,
I had to read that too. I remember it because we had to read Their Eyes Were Watching God, and we had a prompt for an in-class essay, and we were not allowed to disagree with the prompt. It was talking about like racism and power structures, and this is critical race theory. This was 2016, guys. We were reading critical race theory, and I was the only kid in the class that didn't talk about race because I was like, well, they talk about power structure, so I'm just going to do that. My teacher was actually pretty impressed with it. It was the only time I got like a B+ on an English class. Usually I got C's in English class because I was actually a terrible English student in high school because I wanted to look at like overall themes and like the meaning of the book was trying to give us, and instead it was just like, no, you need to write about it through this lens. And like I wanted to do character analysis and theme study. Like they were like, no,
lie, Mupa. I'm right there with you. Getting to like school ended up making me hate reading, and I really despise that. Like
Spark Notes. Okay, so 12th grade was a continuation of 11th grade, and we had to read The Hours, which is Virginia Woolf fan fiction, and Angels in America, among other things. The only book I really liked in 12th grade, we had world literature too, which I really liked. That was a separate class though. And I liked that because those were like real stories. But like, not that The Hours and Angels in America are bad. Angels in America is actually a fantastic play, but I had no way to appreciate it because I was 17 years old. And like, I didn't know anything about the AIDS crisis. I didn't want to read this really confusing and esoteric and like, you know, like, I couldn't understand it. I just couldn't, and I tried. It was the last thing we read in senior year, so it was what my final was on. And I did not read it. I was just like, I don't have the energy. I don't want to. I don't care. This is the same class where we had to like do sentence structure charts for some reason, and had to learn about why that was super important, which it's not, because you should be able to know how sentence structure affects things without having to break it down into these weird charts that made my head hurt.
Forced reading is the bane of the young people. It is. It genuinely is. Like, people will know I was a voracious reader when I was younger. Like, I read through all the Harry Potter books. I read through all the Del Toro books. I literally got a Del Toro book and I read it within like 2 hours. Like, I was that voracious. And that was like the third book, I want to say. It was like the fish one. And I got through that in just a solid afternoon. I loved reading. School, they started assigning books. I hated the books. I really legitimately started hating reading for school. It was one of the most excruciating experiences of my life.
Yeah, but no, I didn't get to finish how the story ends, though. So my final's Angels in America, right? And it's an in-class essay. And again, I was a terrible student in English. I struggled a lot on the essays. B- was a good day, right? I was like, fuck it. What if San Francisco is a metaphor for heaven? And here's how I think that this is evidence. And my teacher was like, wow, Molly, this is the best thing you've ever written for me. I've never considered it like this. This is a really brilliant analysis. A. It's the only time I got an A in English.
God, it's another issue that pops up is that, like, whenever someone does analysis that they don't understand, people are too scared to criticize it because they don't want to be the stupid person in the room.
Yeah, so. I remember another book we read was a play called Wit, which is about a woman dying of cancer. Pretty good play. And we had to write about it through some sort of lens, and it was like, you should write about it through a lens of gender performativity, and like we had to read some academia nonsense that was made out of not like bogus words and just word salad. And I had a concussion at the time, and I was just like, I'm sorry, this isn't processing to me. This is what?
Yeah, William.
What does gender performativity have to do with somebody dying of cancer? What?
A good teacher can get you. Like, I was so lucky that in high school I had 2 teachers, my freshman English teacher and then one that I had later for extracurricular English classes. That's when I started really getting into writing and getting into English. That both got me into Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. And like the thing that really started getting me into it, weirdly enough, was one teacher talking about, he's like, like my freshman teacher, this man who's like, this guy who's straight tie, type A, this man is going to go to his grave without a speck of dirt on his coffin. Like, I swear to God, they're going to bury his coffin and the dirt will float around it. He is that kind of like personality. But he's like, man, I love Shakespeare. Want to know why? It's filled with dick jokes. And literally, we're a group of freshman boys. It's an all-boys school. We're all like, really now? And it's like, oh yeah. So we're reading The Merchant of Venice. It's like, yes, I have to remember the exact line. And I have doffed 2 coin purses and a large gem of my family's household. And I have pouched them thus. And like, she motions to her groin. And it's like, yeah, you see, like it's all like in Shakespearean tongue, but it's like, yeah, right there, she's literally using gems and 2 coin pouches to simulate a dick and balls. It's like,
the one time I actually had a lot of fun in English is we had an assignment in 11th grade where we had to choose any primary source and analyze it through any secondary source. So I was just like, finally, I get to write about Final Fantasy.
Oh!
I wrote about Final Fantasy VI. Again, this is everybody else, you're supposed to choose movies or books or songs or something. And then me, the weird kid, because I was that kid, was just like, yeah, I'm going to do a video game that came out in 1994 and is entirely made of pixel art and it's on Super Nintendo. And my teacher was like, you sure? And I was like, yeah. And I did it. I talked about existentialist theory. Because every major character in that game has an arc that has to do with like moving past the status of who you are, like from your birth, and discovering that they can be what they want to be.
That just reminds me of my friend who in a death in life class they were asked to write down 3 songs from the 3 songs that they would want at their funeral, and like typically you couldn't use pop songs or anything. It had to be like a religious songs. But regardless, he wrote down One Winged Angel because he thought he could get away with it. And he did. The teacher was like, "Oh, I haven't heard of this one." I was like, "Yeah, no, it's good. Trust me."
Oh, angels! It must be a hymn.
But I love the idea of like being the pallbearer for him, carrying his casket down, just like bum 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 ba da 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 da.
Blue Ted 72 says, "You guys are the best writing class. I learned a lot from your coverage of RWBY and now these streams. It's fun to analyze shows you like, and if they're bad, you can learn to make mistakes." I'm glad you appreciate that.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun teaching this stuff. It's great.
Yeah. Writing is fun. I should do it more.
Yeah, speaking of which, we should probably get back to our prompts. We are running behind. We have 2 more after this.
Having too much fun. Yeah, now it's Moopa's turn, and I will take Moopa's.
Yep.
It's loading.
I just see Justice's next one is See the Sun, and all I'm hearing is, "Here comes the sun, do 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 do. Here comes the sun." That's what
now you mentioned One Winged Angel. I have the version where it's stepping on the One Winged Beach. I have that stuck in my head.
Oh God, I have never heard that, but I can imagine it. I need to listen to that after this.
It's so good.
God, I love Final Fantasy VII Remake, but what they did to One Winged Angel, man. I don't know what they were thinking. That was like the one song remix I did not like from that game. What do you think of it?
I don't remember. I was too focused on the fact that they were about to fuck up the entire plot of a game we did not ask them to fuck up the plot of.
I've cooled a lot on that, honestly. I watched Pro Jared's playthrough it a second time, and I'm like, I'm actually more okay with this than I'm surprised. I'm surprised I'm more okay with this than I should be.
Okay. Let's go this. Menno heard about the visiting... Oh, wait, no. Is it your turn or my turn?
It's your turn. I think. Yes, it's your turn.
Oh, yeah, it is. Menno heard about the visiting noble's arrival to the palace and convinced Direxos to come with her to watch their entrance. Certain vantage points within the harem allowed views of the front courtyard and inner gates of the palace as they peered through the lattice windows. He was puny, from some rustic part of one of the western kingdoms. He had a stoop, even when trying to hold himself high. Despite his posturing, while climbing down from his hippocampus, his tail caught in one of the straps and his body twisted in the water. Menno laughed so hard her head bumped against the window as the man struggled to be disentangled. He then tried to carry on to the palace normally. Before the end of the day, Menno had shared with all the other harem residents, and the noble was a chief laughingstock for the evening. Direxos had been convinced by Menno to come watch as the visiting noble made his entrance into the palace. He's from the kingdom of Libincon, journeying to EUXIB. I'm not even going to try.
You should.
On the other side of the Darnad Strait. Direxus thought he was an ambassador of some sort, and that his name was Cosmo. Almost immediately, he stumbled, and while Menno laughed, a pang went through Direxus' chest. The fast way his hands tried to fix his robes, his ramrod back. Direxus could only imagine his face rending under the gazes of the guards and nobles attending. Cosmo was such an old man. His swimming surely not what it used to be. At such a crucial moment, his age had to show itself. Direxus couldn't help but spend the evening by himself, playing on his lyre. Nico stood beside his brother and father captain, awaiting for the arrival of Ambassador Cosmo within the rest of the royal guard. He's running late, and Nico's shoulders were getting stiff from standing at attention. When the ambassador finally did arrive, he took his time walking along the courtyard path, making sure everyone got a look at the jeweled harness on his hippocampus. Then the fool tried to dismount with too much flourish and tripped. His servant helped him up and out of his straps. As soon as he was free, he battered the man away, withered cheeks inflamed. Nico's grip tightened on his falk spear. He bowed alongside the others to welcome the noble, and was grateful that no words were required on his part. When he visited Menno late that night, he found solace in the jokes she'd invented.
Fairly simple.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm waiting for her to tell us what the catch is. Like when it's Moop, I'm always expecting there to be some crazy catch.
Well, I mean, I can already tell they're all mermaids. I think. Because a hippocampus, you know what a hippocampus is, right?
No.
It's a seahorse, like an actual seahorse.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So and she does a lot of like work on painting and drawing mermaids. So that was like the tip off to me. Was like, are they? Is this your mermaids? Moopa? Yojib. Oh, so it's like Yoan. Okay, Yojib. Yoksib. Yuksib. Yeah, there we go. Gotta get it on my tongue. Have you heard Sonic the Mighty Mash? No. One-Winged Kong is fantastic. Oh my god.
Let's see, I finally got to meet Jessie, and I cried for 30 minutes when she died. I feel that, though. The idea of making the remake, oh yeah, we're gonna really flesh out these characters that die within the first, 10 minutes of the original game.
Wait, what are we talking
Thanks,
about?
guys. The FS7 remake.
Oh, man. How long is this? Tools, word count.
This was fairly straightforward, just focusing on the different specters and wood traits each. Got it. Good job.
This is 6 pages long. This is double what we asked for.
Whose is this?
This is Justice.
Wait, he sent 2?
Well, this was because not Justice. Sorry. This is Poncho. Sorry. Getting all mixed up. So we're only gonna read about halfway through this, maybe a little bit less, because my voice is starting to kind of wear down, and we're kind of nearing the end of the stream, honestly. It was a nice, bright, sunny day at the Xiaolong household. The sun smiled down in the meadow surrounding the little cottage. Marie was seated around the dinner table, eating lunch while laughing at Weiss for embracing her belated edgy teen phase. She was sporting rose eyeliner and a metal-studded leather jacket over a plain pink dress. With her hair in neat twin tails. Is she Marnie? Did you Marnie Weiss? Oh my god! Because Mini Marn and Tiny Weiss. That's probably why.
I love how Poncho is trying to create the Tiny Weiss extended universe.
Why are you making fun of me? Yang's the one who picked my outfit, cried Weiss indignantly as she flushed red, hugging her jacket close to her as if Yang was going to take it back. You weren't supposed to like it, wheezed out Yang, banging her hand on the table. I like it, murmured Blake, peering out over a cup of tea. You never grew out of your emo phase. You don't get to talk. It doesn't look that bad, Yang. Stop bullying them, said Ruby, slowly inching over to tug on Weiss's twin tails.
I just want to say, I like how Poncho is giving them personalities, and they actually talk like friends.
Yeah.
I want to, in case Miles ever watch this. So there's a concept here. This is a concept of
It's called
people. So it's how you change it from plot victims to characters. Instead of trying to make your plot victims relatable, you make them people.
Which then, guess what that does? It makes them relatable.
I hate when they try to, there was that article I saw that was just it was about neurodivergency in modern cartoons, and it was see, Entrapta is autistic, and I want to actually point that out because Entrapta is the best character in She-Ra until her focus episode in season 5, where they put her on a leash. They put her on it's the only woman they actually focus on her being autistic. They put her on a leash and they make her really stupid.
Yeah, they sabotage her character because she was never that stupid before. It was one of the most frustrating episodes of the entire show.
And then the other one was and then Luz in Owl House is apparently Dana Terrace said she was written to be neurodivergent, which I'm sure she was, and I'm sure
She's just quirky. She's quirky.
I'm sure Dana Terrace was asked and then was like, "Oh yeah, we totally wrote her to be like that." But Luce isn't nothing's wrong with her. She's just a quirky, awkward teenager. Like, she's 14 years old. But she's hyperactive and impulsive and is obsessed with this book series. Yeah, she's 14. That was everyone in my class. We all didn't know how to talk to each other. We all felt like we were outcasts, and we were all obsessed with the Hunger Games. Like, oh no, she has a personality. There must be something wrong with her. Like no, you want to make relatable teen girls, you gotta do the amphibia thing. Just make one of them a sociopath. There you go. Or you can actually write mental illness if you're not afraid, because the thing about mental disorders is that they are negative. Like, I was talking about this with Mupa earlier. I was like, man, I wish I got the quirky parts of ADHD. Instead, I just got learning disabilities. Like, if you're going to write a character that has a mental problem, you have to, it's a problem. We call it a problem for a reason. There's something wrong.
But
yeah, let's keep going. I'll get on to that after this, because I actually want to go into the next prompt with it.
Yeah. It doesn't look that bad. Yang, stop bullying them, said Ruby, inching closer to tug on Weiss's twin tails. As this was happening, there was a light knock on the front door. I'll get it, yelled Ty from the other room, and the girls continued their antics. Some light murmuring tickled its way into the room. Yeah, Yang, called Ty. What? She yelled back. Wouldn't that be great if she did that, had the weird inflection in her note, wah! She actually did a little voice. I could see Yang doing that, at home.
This is just a weeb written to be really relatable for the audience. Yeah, she's like, I remember when I watched Frozen when I was 14, and I was just like, man, this isn't a character. This is just an archetype that was marketed to be relatable to every teen girl who thinks that they're awkward, isn't it?
Yep.
I was 14. I was just
Tangled is superior. Just saying. There's a boy here to see you. I told you not to bring those here. I didn't. Then who's this? How'd I know? Silence. He's wearing a kinky mask. Wait, what? There was a flash of red. Fire. Can't breathe. The top half of the house was obliterated. The rest was either... Holy shit, okay. Either
it's
a pile
called
of rubble...
being disabled, not throwable.
Pile of rubble on fire, or some of the debris began moving, and painfully. Yang unearthed herself from it. She stumbled a bit before she got her bearings. Ruby! Dad! She shrieked as she was engulfed in flame, frantically burrowing through the destruction. She sifted through a larger part of the fallen wall and found Weiss and Blake, unconscious but breathing. Her worries eased slightly, then kept searching. I'm hungry. Ruby wandered the big, dark halls. Walking was new to her, but a little thing like a lack of motor control couldn't stop her. She remembered what the food room smelled like, so she followed the scent to her destination. She expected a big, nice man to be waiting there like always to feed her, along with the smaller, big, nice girl who often sneaked her cookies when the big man wasn't looking. But no one was there. What the fuck is happening? She only found smelly bottles lying around the floor. She turned back and saw some light through a crack in a doorway. Taken by an evil, searching, no one left. My heart is hurting. Just when I thought it couldn't be undone, you opened your eyes. So bright. Ruby attempted to raise her hand over her eyes to shield them, but couldn't muster the strength. All she could do was squint to not be blinded by what could be only the sun. Ruby, get up! Yang yelled frantically, trying to shake her sister awake. I'm certain I can bring you back again. Keep holding on. You'll see the sun again. I know the road will be long, but just know that I'm never stopping. Yang listened to her father softly singing to her as she bawled into his chest. She was gone, forever. He reeked of alcohol, but she didn't care. She latched onto him and refused to let go. She tried to crush him in her arms. Never let go, never. What would happen if she did? Would he go away too? The door creaked open. What the fuck is happening? Adam blows up your house and then
let's keep going.
Ruby snapped back to her senses and shot straight up, ramming her head right into Yang's jaw. Where's Dad? Weiss, are you okay? She said, wincing from the pain and feeling lightheaded. Weiss and Blake are over there. They'll be fine. For now, get up and lean on me. We need to find Dad. Yang hoisted Ruby up, draping an arm around her shoulders. Ruby managed to walk a few steps to the edge of the ruins, but after that, Yang was basically dragging her along. Okay, we need a better solution. Yang! Ruby cut her off and was staring at somewhere in the distance. Look. Yang followed her gaze, and through the smoke and dust, she saw a tall, lanky silhouette slowly making its way towards them. Yang's eyes flashed scarlet. Well then, let's go welcome our house guest, shall we? Someone's confident today, came the low drawl from beyond the smoke. Good. Maybe you'll be put up more of a fight this time. The shadow slashed at the smoke, bringing him into view. Adam was standing there before them, his sword drawn and still faintly glowing crimson. More song stuff. I'm not going to read the song stuff. I do not like song fics, for the record. Unless you want me to read it in Gilbert Gottfried voice, I will do that.
Don't.
Tai entered his room, only to find Yang sitting at the foot of his bed. She watched him enter, premature lines of worry marking her face. His heart sank with the weight of what he had to tell her. Hey there, little champ. This is your room. Tai making a half-hearted attempt to move the conversation. I heard you yelling at Uncle Crow. Sorry about that. I must have woken you up. Where's Mom? Where's Mom? Often when Yang would throw one of her tantrums, she would become the spitting image of Raven, eyes red and all. But right now, with her eyes full of righteous determination to know the truth, he only saw Summer's daughter. She's growing up way too fast, isn't she? And there's nothing I can do, is there? Holding back his tears, Tai sat down next to her. Mom won't be coming back, kiddo. Yang looked down at the floor. Like my other mom? No, that's different. Your mom didn't really have a choice in this. He heard a small sniffle and an even smaller hand intertwined with his. It's okay, Dad. Her voice quavered ever so slightly. You still have me and Ruby, so you don't have to be alone again. She could barely finish speaking before her voice cracked completely. I promise. Tai felt a mixture of pride and guilt erupt inside him. He genuinely turned her face towards him. Her eyes were welling with tears. So please don't be sad, okay? Please? She said softly. Yang froze completely. Memories of blood, pain, and smoke flooded her mind. Several long moments passed. Adam gave a tired sigh. Apparently not. And he charged. Ruby saw his approach in slow motion. She watched the arc of his blade drew closer. If I didn't move right now, how can I call myself a huntress? How can I call myself a sister? With the last of her strength, she threw Yang behind her and braced herself. The blow never came. And as the blade was moments from contact, a hand appeared before her and caught the blade, followed by the arm attached to it, and she saw her father as she had never seen him before. The whites of his eyes were blood red and filled with an unbridled rage. His other hand sped into view, and his open palm struck Adam in the chest, sending him flying back, his heels digging trenches into the ground. Tai pulled Yang close and felt her latch onto him. He heard the door creak open and saw little Ruby squinting into the room. Seeing her was all he needed to have tears run down his face as well. He extended his arm out to her, and she waddled her way to his arms next to Yang and silently began stroking her hair. Yang only began hugging her as well and bawled louder. She looked up at him and gave him a look that made his heart crumble into a million pieces. We're still here, so please, you can't go too. You won't go, right? You won't go, right? Sorry, kids. Dad's got to go put his foot down. He growled as he stepped in front of both of them. Yang finally croaked out, Wait, Dad, don't go, please! That gave him pause, as Adam's hands began to glow red off in the distance. Tai simply looked back at them and replied, I promised you, didn't I? I'm not going anywhere. Adam charged them. Tai closed his eyes and inhaled. He took his stance. While on the hope as nights grow darker, he saw his daughters looking up at him, never let go. Tai slammed his foot down. Taijutsu. That's a good name for a semblance. He can activate a berserk mode like Yang. When in his state, he rapidly restores energy in his body when he's still quickly. He moves quickly, so he adopted a fighting style which focuses more on slow, precise but powerful movements and grappling to hold his opponents in place if he needed to recharge. It continuously happens in either condition unconsciously. Oh, that's interesting. All right. That was an interesting little story.
Is it like he's having his little flashbacks, and that's like powering him? Is it?
I think they're all having their own little flashbacks.
Okay.
Because I think Ruby's having a flashback to when she was a kid. It sounded weird.
He says one story was backwards or something in the.
I don't know. Like, honestly, I was a little fatigued reading that. I'm wearing down here. All right. Well, final prompt.
And we still have to finalize music later.
Yeah, I know. Here we go. Final prompt by Pasteben. Why is Adam attacking the Xiaolong household? Because fanfiction. Adam is Virgil, and you can't convince me otherwise. His semblance should be Virgil's concentration. Devil Triggers fits Adam more, though. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I am the storm that is approaching, encroaching.
Oh, girlfriend in chat, by the way.
Oh, frogs in chat.
Frogs in chat, everyone. Well, this loads.
The flashbacks are all to the same night. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Ugh. I still need to get the Virgil DLC anyway. Maybe I'll buy that at some point. It's only like $5.
Frog. Hold on. Frog. I am rain. Walking. Nami Nom Noms is giving me some hieroglyphs here.
Yeah. Ty, I figured that. Ty found out that Summer died. I got that implication. Passport the Third, your Froge is appreciated.
Frog.
Froge.
Frog.
It's self-loaded yet?
It is loaded.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Thinking about frogs. Thinking about Sarah makes me happy.
Oh, I am the storm, and it's a guy approaching. Okay, I get it. It's the song that I was singing. That's what the hieroglyphs are from Nami Nom Noms.
I see. Gloria. Beautiful. It's beautiful. She's beautiful. She walks forward with a mix of supreme confidence and iron determination. The waves of heat rolling off her generate ripples in the shower layer of liquefied asphalt. In all my time experimenting with music, I've never enhanced someone as powerful as the woman before me. Wildfire. Normally, she's just a human flamethrower. With my assistance, she'll become an elemental avatar, a goddess. Whoever this big guy is, he doesn't stand a chance. I play the heaviest, most powerful chords I can as I enter a feedback loop where my performance pushes her flames to new heights and inspire me to greater crescendos. I'm blinking my eyes as fast as I can to keep them from drying out, and I can feel the heat blisters forming on my skin, but I can't put my armor back on. It would slow me down too much. I would never offer a goddess anything but my best. The patterns of her flame are shifting, and her power is beyond my comprehension. My bleeding fingers protest and slip on the frets. I'm exhausted and can't handle improvising, so I take some inspiration and riff on Exciter. I hope that I've given her enough to work with, because I'm probably going to pass out soon. Holy shit, she look at me? Is she crying? Johanna, disgusting. Vulgar, wretched, disgusting. If I have to fight to maintain my hold on reality, every step is a battle to focus. If I embrace this euphoria, I don't know if I'll be able to return to my humanity, to Callie. I recall how my father would scold me for losing control. I am no god. I must be humble. This is a gift to defeat evil. I am a protector, and I must scour this creature from the earth. I realize my doubts have caused my attack to falter as Genesis begins to pontificate like some kind of caricature. I must redouble my efforts. Silently, I apologize to anyone who owned property on this street. I keep pushing the heat away, but I'm still drowning in it. Blue? I don't think I've ever made blue fire before. No, focus. I can't get lost in my own mind, or this inferno wrangling could run wild. I can... What are they playing now? Is that Judas Priest? Richard. Siegfried. I'm sorry, Father. I don't know if I'm playing back for this. God forgive me and protect the innocent from my transgression. Let's find out what comes after blue. Genesis. Pathetic. The girl's display is pathetic, at best. Her quavering tread might as well be the crawl of an infant. I had hoped that my progeny would be more developed at this point. She can't even maintain her simple-minded assault. Already, I am regenerating my skin faster than she could burn it away. I chastise her, and I think I have struck a nerve. Her petulance irks me, but she is a mere child after all. Perhaps I have been too harsh. I will wait for her temper tantrum to wane, and I will try to reason with her again. I begin creating a new arm to replace the one she is disintegrating when one of my eyes explodes. No matter, I will merely need to adapt to more I regain my full consciousness as I rebuild my higher cognitive functions in a protected compartment of my torso. What is that awful racket? No, I can't be distracted by an insect. Not when the Ifrit is finally providing a challenge. As pleased as I am with this development, I must unfortunately consider retreat until she has come down. However, engulfed in flame as I am, I cannot perceive a viable exit. There is marginal benefit to guessing, so I attempt to move. As Sarah would say, The bones in my legs have fused together. The armor layer protecting my executive functions is heating beyond its capacity. I must do something to cool it before it P.S. Richard and Siegfried are her brothers, and JP is what they listen to while working on the family farm, when Dad isn't around, obviously. There's a lot of precious memories tied into music for Johanna. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a way to insert that without being stilted. I hope the feeling was implied strongly enough by what was there.
I enjoyed everything we just read. I have no idea what the hell is happening.
Yes. My favorite part, that's my favorite thing about when Pace Ben tries something like this. I'm like, this is amazing.
What is it? Oh, God. Like, I guess there's a robot that exploded. I think. Was the robot having, like, a midlife crisis before it exploding?
I mean, it sounds like that there's like two people challenging each other and like trying to resist this fire attack.
Everything was so musical in the first one.
I think like that. How I got is like that person's playing music and it powers the fire thing. I think.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly entertained. I have no idea what I just read. I imagine just like it's a D&D bard like throwing a fireball maybe and killing like.
It's like when I look at abstract art. I'm like, this is incredible. I have no idea what it is.
So hopefully you can pop in and tell us what we don't know. I thought someone was playing Final Fantasy 14, but I don't play it, so I can't be sure. Everyone's talking about Final Fantasy 14 recently. Like, it did just get, like, a new update? I'm taking it?
I don't know. I try to avoid it. Like, not conversation about it, but I don't intend to play it.
Same, but I hear it. I mean, I hear it's, like, really good, but I'm just like, I don't play them.
It's such a time sink is the issue.
Yeah. Is the guitar a weapon? I imagine it's a weapon. It has to be. The guitar piat? I have no idea what a guitar piat is. Or I might, somewhere in the back of my head. What's a piat? No, I'm thinking of a capo. Okay. It's a slightly different thing. Well, I mean, I don't know what to say to this. This is fantastic. Because of the Blizzard scandal. Oh, it's because of the Blizzard scandal? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's why. People are fleeing World of Warcraft for Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The refugees. All right, well...
Maybe Blizzard could have not harassed its female employees or something.
Like... I don't know, some of the things that they describe are, like, standard, like, just business fare in general. Not even, like, harassing stuff. It's just like, oh, there were beer crawls or whatever through it. And it's literally, it's just an office party. That's what they're describing. It's an office party. If you read the description of what they describe that as, it's like...
There was other stuff in there, too.
Oh, there was other stuff. I'm not saying there wasn't any, like, anything that went down there. I'm just saying, like, the way they try to make it out, like, it's a environment that's, like, facilitating that. It's, like, it's typical office behavior, which speaks more to typical office behavior than it does to just Blizzard as a single thing. All right, well, and it's Ifrit. I'm not sure if that's the same thing. Is Ifrit the same as Ifrit?
Maybe. So I was thinking that too.
Yes, it is. Okay. Well, that all said, Blizzard was a sinking ship anyway, but the story about male coworkers sharing the nudes of one female causing the female. Oh my god, yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I already had a dislike for Blizzard. I thought Overwatch could have sold me if it came with a single player campaign. Overwatch 2 promises one, but like they didn't bring one initially, and now I'm so soured on Blizzard and Overwatch that like the only thing enjoyable about Overwatch anymore is the porn. Literally, that's it.
Now we can't even enjoy that.
Oh yeah, they're trying to remove that. So I mean,
well, no, but it's like now every time you see Overwatch stuff, you're just gonna think about Blizzard.
Yeah. It was like always at the back of my head, like it was always at the back of my choices too. It's like I don't care. It is well animated porn. I don't care. All right. Well, that's enough about that. That's a weird note to end on. Next prompt.
Your next prompt, yeah. Well, I've been thinking a lot about mental illness portrayal in media. I kind of want to do something with that. So the thing that people often get wrong is the fact that they're too scared to kind of be truthful about mental illness, which is that it's bad, and mental illnesses work against our rationale. That's why they're mental illnesses. So that's why people tend to stick with the comfortable stuff. They'll be like, oh, they're quirky and have ADHD. They're quirky and have autism. They're a little sad, so they have depression. At worst, what you'll get is the Dimitri style of like, I'm angry and I have my angst because I'm angry. But the concept of a character actually having mental illness, I always has been done successfully in a 2002 Ace Attorney game, and then never afterwards for some reason. The reason why that worked is because the character that was portrayed actually had a thought process she was working on that simply did not line up with what we consider to be standard. Because that's how it works. Like, and it causes problems. It's not a good thing. It doesn't mean she's a bad person. She's intelligent and put together.
For anyone that's game savvy, it's like bringing a Pathfinder character to a Dungeons and Dragons game. They're wholly incompatible, but they still function.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that it's still being like, yeah, mental illness is a fact of life. It doesn't mean it's good. Because the fact of the matter is, in the case, the character's issues create massive roadblocks because people take advantage of it, and it's just difficult to work with, and it's not rational, and it's really hard to convince her of things because they're not working on her rationale. That's how it's done.
Nom-noms and anime guy, they aren't taken too kindly to the prompt idea.
No, not a good prompt idea. Yeah, I was thinking Monk OC is pretty well done. I the investigation, so never watched it.
Oh, you never watched Monk? Monk is great. I love Monk.
Yeah. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about because it's hard to portray. I guess if you're not comfortable with doing a mental illness, then you can do something else that it doesn't. Because I don't want you to start looking like if you don't feel comfortable looking up stuff and figuring out how to write it and it, like just write something about two people with incompatible rationales. That makes sense.
I'd say it's more like bringing a Call of Cthulhu character to a D&D game. No, because what I'm trying to say is that like you're bringing a different rule set to a game with one rule set. Like it's any kind of game, really. Like if I bring a Dungeons and Dragons 4e character to a Dungeons and Dragons 5e campaign, there are going to be things that make it function. You can make it function in a Dungeons and Dragons 5 campaign, but it's not going to be like it's going to be janky. It's going to be incongruous, and like mental illnesses, I think, are just different rule sets that like get more and more divergent from what you consider the standard.
I think it's important for people to learn this, not just because I like representation or whatever, but I think it's important to learn how to write outside your comfort zone. And kind of the best way to do that is to write something that just doesn't make sense to you. I understand for people like Anime AK, that's really hard. And for other people, that's hard. It's very unusual. Is trauma considered a mental illness? No, trauma can cause mental illness.
Yes.
There's a difference. And don't do PTSD. No autism unless you're going to go all the way with it. No ADHD because it's just too simple. No mild depression. And no movie PTSD. You want to do like real PTSD? Go for it. No movie PTSD.
The way to handle like the when it comes to growing as a writer, write the thing that appalls you the most. Like the thing that you legitimately hate the most, things like that, write those things. Because that will push your limits. That will force you to come to understand things that you despise the most. And in that, you will find some new way of looking at the world. Although I
watch the last case of Ace Attorney Justice for All. That's your homework.
We'll get to it.
So I guess is the problem mental illness? Yes, but if you're not comfortable with that, write a conflict where one character is like outside your own comfort zone.
Yeah. Also, I want to make a stipulation. Real world.
Real world.
Like real Earth. Our world.
For Anime AK.
Not just for Anime AK. I want for everyone because like I don't want to just say
but I'm saying for Anime AK, I want you to write about something that happens in the span of 5 minutes.
That was actually going to be my prompt for the next prompt if I remembered it was going to be in a blink of an eye.
Oh, that is a good one. That will be our next one because I don't know how many submissions we'll get with this one, but it's just something I've been thinking about so much.
Yeah, someone remind me of that 3 weeks from now.
I don't get what you mean by conflict. Like, I guess what I'm really trying to say is like write a character that has a mindset you're not comfortable in. Write a character that has a mindset against yours. That's a better way to do it.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be mental illness. I like that. Conflicting mindsets.
Conflicting mindsets, yeah. You can do mental illness. But I think mental illness, I think you're right. It's like not that good of a way to say it because that makes it very easy for someone to just look up a list of symptoms and try to write that.
Yep.
Like, write a conflicting mindset, one that conflicts with your own. You know.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to get some polarized results from this, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of like put in kind of a more intense challenge, but yeah, I think the real thing should be like write a mindset that conflicts with yours, a rationale that conflicts with yours. Try to get into somebody else's head that isn't something you're comfortable with anymore. It doesn't have to be that they have autism or something. They don't have to have a specific personality disorder. But it's something that goes against what you think. Does that make sense?
And on that incredibly vague.
Not what you think, how you think.
Yes. And it all has to be in the real world. Like it has to be grounded in the real world. We don't want any fantasy, we don't want any fan fiction, just like we call it is it nonfiction fiction? Is that what it's called? It's just like like stock standard just fiction. It's a thing that
I'm afraid if I try, it's going to get political. Don't make it easy. Don't say like, oh, this person's racist and I'm not racist. Don't make it easy.
Mupa, I actually would disagree with that. That could have like long-lasting implications. Like that could have mental impacts that you just don't understand. Like they do feel things.
Well, I think learning about it can be
traumatizing in itself. Yeah,
that can be traumatizing. As in writing what I despise. It's not writing what you despise. It's writing a mindset that conflicts with yours. There's a difference. It's not about what they think, it's how they think.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, this person is racist and I'm not racist. It's stuff like...
you both see a wall.
Yeah.
You want to, like, you say, oh, we need to get past this wall. So you get out a rope, you throw it over, you climb up, you climb over. The other person is like, no, I'm going to go through the wall. That's what you need to, like, that's the distinction you need to make. Like, it's like you have two different ideas on how to solve a problem effectively.
Yeah, so in the Ace Attorney case I was referencing, the character has dependency problems. So basically somebody told her to do something, and she does it until it's, like, to the point where it's literally shooting herself in the foot, and she still won't, like, not do it, because she's like, well, somebody told me to. Like, that's not rational, but it makes sense to her.
All right, well, this is going to be an interesting prompt, and I can't wait to see some of the submissions we get.
Yeah. I hope I didn't make a mistake suggesting it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get canceled. It's great. All right, remember, if you want to support the channel, you can always throw me $1 or so over on Patreon. For $1 or more, you get access to the Team Frostbite Discord server, where I, Fatman Falling, Dashy Lee, and of course Molly are there to regularly talk to you. If it's Molly's case, it's yell at you. If you should be looking forward. We got some good stuff coming up on the channel, and yes, that means what you think it means. We're getting real close to a certain deadline, and I'm very excited. Very excited. So everyone, eyes on. Going to be cool. Until then, thank you all so much for watching.